So that's why I came back. For my people, I die about my people. It ain't about, oh, I'm trying to kill cause I'm trying to, that's a fucking lie.
But mostly, I want to speak to you. You.
I still don't have copies of the things that I've asked for. I don't have a copy of anything. I don't even know what the prosecutor's going to use against me.
This is 58-year-old Jesse Gomez, who is facing charges for the murder of a police officer in San Diego. Jesse Gomez viciously murdered a 16-year veteran of the San Diego Police Department, Jonathan de Guzman. On July 28, 2016, Jonathan Guzman and Wade Irwin were patrolling Acacia Grove Way when they spotted Gomez and another man split up. The officers followed Gomez at slow speed in their patrol car before they finally approached him to confirm if he lived around there. Gomez, who reportedly thought gang members were pursuing him, opened fire on Guzman and Irwin. The officers returned fire, but only Irwin would live to see the next day. During the trial, Officer Irwin had something to say to the court.
On July 28, 2016, it didn't have to turn out that way, but it did ultimately because of the choice the defendant made. Officer Jonathan de Guzman gave more than anyone could expect to give. He was blue through and through. There is not a day that goes by that I don't think about JD, and I miss him tremendously.
After Officer Irwin's remarks, Jane de Guzman, the late officer's wife, had some words for her husband's killer.
I do not understand how could you just take someone's life without thinking about his or her family when you yourself is a father too. I really tried hard to find a place in my heart to forgive you. But when you took the stand and did not show any remorse while clearly showing that you know what you have done, I would find it hard to forgive you. I hope that they give you the punishment you deserve. Can I add something still? I heard about the trauma that you're talking about. You're thinking about the trauma of his family. How about my trauma, like his?
After a deliberation that lasted hours, the jury arrived at a verdict and melted out the punishment.
This court, the jury has found death. This court has confirmed the jury's opinion, and I find no reason whatsoever to set aside that decision. It is the order of this court that you shall, for this murder conviction, suffer the death penalty. Said penalty to be inflicted within the walls of the state prison, San Quentin, California, in a manner prescribed by law and the time to be fixed by this court in the warrant of execution. You are remanded to the care, custody, and control of the Sheriff of San Diego County to be delivered to the warden of the state prison of San Quentin, California, within 10 days of the date hereof, in the usual course of its duties for the execution of the sentence on the offense of murder in the first degree contained in count 1 of the information of which you have been found guilty and the special circumstance having been found true.
After the sentencing, convicted Gomez had some words for the families of his victims.
I just want the Guzman family to know that this was not an intentional act. If I could trade places with Officer Guzman, I would, but I cannot, and I am truly sorry for that. And the second thing is that I told the truth on what happened that night. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you for your time.
Despite getting the ultimate punishment, the death penalty, Gomez's face didn't portray any emotion. This was not the only time convicts didn't show any expression after sentence, just like the case of Delgado. This is Humberto Delgado, who is on trial for the first-degree murder of a Tampa police corporal, Mike Roberts. On August 19, 2009, Delgado, a former Virgin Islands police officer, was pushing a golf cart filled with weapons when Corporal Roberts spotted him. During the search, Delgado attempted to run, but the cop confronted him with a taser. Delgado also made moves to defend himself, and a struggle ensued between the both, leading to a fistfight. The struggle became fierce when Delgado pulled out his firearm and fired a shot that would put an end to the cop's life. During the court proceedings, Delgado cooked up a perfect lie to evade justice.
He wasn't thinking clearly. He wasn't able to make judgments. He wasn't able to weigh the good and the bad, the positive and the negative.
Roberts' wife, Cindy, pleaded with the judge to prevent other families from suffering their fates. She also had few words for her husband's killer.
But mostly, I want to speak to you. You. I will not speak your name. You are not worthy of such respect. You have been given several opportunities to speak during this trial, and like a coward, you have remained silent, and you are not remorseful. You coward. You murdered my husband in cold blood. You pistol whipped him until he was unconscious. He was no threat to you. I hope you receive the death penalty, and so does Mike. So does Mike. He had no tolerance for cop killers and thought you should get the death penalty for it. You no longer have a name. You're just an inmate number. But to many of us, you will just be known as cop killer.
The jury found Delgado guilty of his crime, but he showed no emotions. The judge handed him the death penalty for the murder of Corporal Robert.
For the murder of Corporal Michael Roberts, this court sentences you to be put to death in the manner prescribed by law.
Delgado appealed the sentence, and it was changed to life imprisonment by the Florida Supreme Court due to his mental illness and the circumstances of the crime. While Delgado's face didn't portray any emotion, the defendant in the next case could not hide his feelings towards his conviction. This is Markeith Lloyd, who is facing multiple charges of murder. Lloyd is facing trial for the tragic death of Orlando Police Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. On January 9, 2017, around 7:15 a.m., Deborah was leaving a Walmart on John Young Parkway when a woman informed her that Lloyd was in line at the store. Lloyd, who was wanted for the murder of his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Sadie Dixon, was dressed in camouflage pants and was wearing a bulletproof vest similar to those used by the Orlando Police Department. Deborah pursued Lloyd, but the 46-year-old drew his gun and fired 3 rounds at her as she ran toward the parking lot. One of the bullets struck Deborah in her right hip, which caused her to fall and hit her face on the pavement. Deborah also managed to fire multiple shots at the suspect, and the shootout continued for a while. One of the witnesses in Walmart appeared in court to testify to what went down at the scene.
And did the defendant get on the ground?
No, sir.
Did you see what he did?
Yes, sir.
What did he do?
Pushed his cart, ran around a pillar.
Now, the pillar that he ran around would have been to his right or his left?
His left.
And what happened after he ran around the pillar?
He came back from behind the pillar.
And did you notice anything when he came out from behind the pillar?
Yes, sir.
What did you notice?
A gun in his hand.
Did you notice whether or not the officer had her gun in her hand?
Yes, sir.
So you saw the 2 guns?
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
I got on the ground.
What did you hear after you got down on the ground?
Shots back and forth.
You know how many shots you heard?
No, sir, I don't remember.
After the shooting was over, did you stand back up?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the defendant anywhere in the parking lot?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Lieutenant Deborah received multiple shots to the hip and thigh before she was transported to Orlando Regional Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. Some days later, Lloyd was captured in an abandoned house, even though he resisted the arrest at first, which led to an injury to his eyes. During trial, Lloyd didn't show signs of remorse, but instead, he played the victim card.
These people made up a story saying I came over here, banged on these people's door, and gunned these people down. I tried to turn myself in 2 times before Walmart. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want the jury to know. Walmart never had to happen. These people know that I believe the police were trying to kill me, and they told no one. They endangered Deborah, me, and everyone else, but they told no one, and they trying to keep the jury and the people from knowing this. And this judge is working with them. And Walmart never had to happen. I tried to turn myself in 2 times before Walmart. I would never kill your queen like that. Never. And this wasn't told to the jury that that's an important part of the defense. That's the mind state they had me in.
In another court session, Lloyd narrated what went down during the arrest, but this time he portrayed himself as a hero.
When I was turning myself in, when they came to the house, I got low, I got small. So they start opening fire on me.
Calm down, Mr. Lloyd. Take a deep breath.
My belief of them not trying to kill me, it didn't go away. But for my people, I die. I don't care. I would die for my people. So I'm not gonna let my ex or my people come here and do no life sentence for nothing they had nothing to do with. So that's why I came back. For my people, I die about my people. It ain't about, oh, I'm trying to kill cops. That's a fucking lie. But when cops killing us, I speak out. I'm not doing none of that.
At this point, Lloyd was infuriated, forcing him to make a heavy decision, one he'd later regret.
Mr. Lloyd, do you want to represent yourself? Or you want to keep your lawyers?
Yes, I want to represent myself.
So you want to fire your 2 lawyers?
No, I want to be first chair, second chair, how I had it for last time. And since Sherry know everything, I got to keep Terry.
Okay. And what is the reason that you want to represent yourself?
Because things are being done and it's not being done right, and my life is on the line. They're just like, even with the situation, and I told them I only want the fact for my mind, it was my mind state that the police was trying to kill me. They reported I came over here to my child's mother's house, bammed on the door, and gunned these people down. That never happened. Everyone's seen my trial, so y'all know a fact.
But this was not all. While the jury deliberated whether to hand him life or the death penalty, Lloyd did another silly thing.
Mr. Lloyd has actually went into the hallway that leads to the holding cells and took himself out of the courtroom. The court has not given him permission to leave.
Eventually, Lloyd was convicted and sentenced to death for the fatal shooting of Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. Lloyd's reaction was dramatic before the judge, but Ashford's response caused emotional moments in the courtroom.
I still don't have copies of the things that I've asked for. I don't have a copy of anything. I don't even know what the prosecutor's going to use against me.
This is Ashford Thompson, who is currently facing charges for murdering a Twinsburg police officer in Ohio. On July 13, 2008, at around 2 a.m., Ashford was driving through the driveway of his former Glenwood Drive home when a Twinsburg police officer, Josh McTarian, pulled him over for playing loud music. Officer Josh approached Ashford and requested backup, but a dispatcher informed him that Ashford had a concealed gun license. Unfortunately, Officer Josh didn't heed the dispatch, not knowing Ashford was about to do the unexpected. After Josh managed to handcuff one of Ashford's wrists, Ashford shot him in the head 4 times, leaving the officer's lifeless body on the ground. Josh, who had served with the Twinsburg Police Department for 11 years, left behind his wife, Holly, who was also an Oakwood police officer at the time, and their 3-month-old Thea. Holly's speech in the court explains how painful the murder of her husband was.
I didn't write anything down here because I don't really think that I can write my life down and tell these 2 women how they destroyed my life that day. Bridget Robinson and I went to school together. And here I am addressing her in court as a part of someone who helped my husband, help someone murder my husband. I understand that he's your brother and that you want to help him, but you as an adult made that choice that day to help him, and that is why you're here.
In 2010, Ashford faced a Summit County jury where he was convicted of aggravated murder with specifications that carried the death penalty, including purposely killing a police officer. He was also found guilty of escape, resisting arrest, tampering with evidence, and carrying a concealed weapon. The jury recommended a death sentence as the consequence of Ashford's crime. After the sentencing, Officer Josh's mother had the chance to address the court and the killer of her youngest son.
God has given me many gifts. One was my youngest son, Josh. Josh was a very special person. It took me many months to pick out his name to fit him, bringing out the goodness in people. You had to shoot him 3 more times while he laid down there dead, caving in the side of his head. The shot that took his life also took mine. I'm dead inside. I'm like a shell going through the motions of life. I respond to my body's command. When I have to eat, when my body says that. My eyes drip tears anytime, day or night. I don't even notice half the time. I go like this and I'm crying. My heart bleeds sorrow for grief, sadness, agony. You took my son's future. You took my future.
A similar reaction goes for Holly in another court session, where she spoke in anger and expressed how she didn't feel sorry for whatever the consequence of his action was.
You wanted to be in control. You were in your driveway and you wanted to be in control. Just like you talk to your girlfriend on the phone. You want to be in control, and that's how it is. I would say, I feel sorry for your family, but I've heard them respond to you in those phone call conversations. And they don't care, just like you don't care. So I'm not trying to nice as his mother, because I don't believe that they care. Those phone call conversations are disgusting. How can you believe in God? How can you even think that God can forgive you for what you've done? You shot my husband in the head. And I believe with all my heart, your girlfriend getting out of the car that night gave you that 2 seconds to get that gun in your pocket and shoot him in the head. And then you bent over and you shot him again and again and again. You put the gun on his head. That's disgusting. Who does that?
In one of the trials, Ashford seemed to be frustrated by the legal process and broke down in front of the judge.
I still don't have copies of the things that I've asked for. I don't have a copy of anything. I don't even know what the prosecutor's going to use against me.
Well, probably your statements, Mr.
Judge Eleanor Stormer supported the jury's recommendation and sentenced Ashford to death. After the sentence, Ashford had the chance to speak, and he tendered his apologies in tears.
Concurs with the jury's sentence and hereby sentences Ashford Thompson to death.
I just want to say I'm sorry. I can't apologize enough. If you see me with a straight face, it's not because I just have no feeling or I just hate people. I'm just some kind of cold-blooded killer. I wasn't raised like that.
Ashford is on death row at Chillicothe Correctional Institution. He appealed the conviction and death sentence, hoping to reverse the penalty, but the Ohio Supreme Court denied him. This is Luis Enrique Monroy Bracamontes, a Mexican immigrant accused of killing 2 cops. As the jury read their verdict, Bracamontes continued to smile as though he was proud of his actions.
2018, signed 4 persons, juror number 7.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is that your true and correct verdict? So say you all.
Yes.
So say they all.
Verdict count 5. Regarding the charge in count 5 that on or about October 24th, 2014, Luis Enriquez Monroy Bracamontes did unlawfully attempt to take a motor vehicle into possession of Anthony Holmes by means of force and fear, we find the defendant guilty. We further find the allegation that the defendant used and intentionally and personally discharged a firearm, to wit, a 9mm handgun, and thereby approximately caused great bodily injury to be true.
In another court appearance, Bracamontes erupted.
I will break out soon, and I will kill more.
Ladies and gentlemen, please step out of the hallway.
Dead.
This was what Bracamontes' lawyer had to say during his closing arguments.
Mr. Bracamontes clearly was not in his right mind. His mind was altered.
This is a killing spree from start to finish.